Hey, good day, folks. Welcome to Andrew's Life. What I'm getting ready to play is going to be a video to where I look at a property, I look at the outside, and then I go on the inside. And I'm going to play this video first because I want you guys to see the property, and then after I play the video, I'm going to come back and I'm going to give you some more commentary. But just real quick. Well, no, I'm not. No, I'm going to go ahead and play the video. And then I'm going to give you the commentary of what you guys saw, what you heard, all that good stuff. So I will be back. Enjoy the video. Okay. All right.
Couldn't remember if I told you that.
I think you did. I'm just recording some footage here.
Okay, that's fine.
Oh, man. Okay.
What is that around the gorgeous rotting at the very top of that door?
There's a lot of rot around here, definitely. Especially back here.
It's what?
A lot of rot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she said it wasn't the best. And so I asked her, did they have to go through that auction process? Like we have to with those other houses, and she said no, we just sent her a purchase agreement.
That's for this one.
Yeah, this one just needs a purchase agreement. This is that's a drain, probably for the water.
Okay, looks like we got a busted drain pipe here. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's probably goes up under the house. See, there's pipe
Oh.
over here.
Okay, we got some plumbing. Okay, I need some plumbing.
So I really don't know where it stops over here.
Yeah.
Because
Well, they say 2 acres, so
yeah, but how they work, you can't go by what's cut.
right.
Because
I'm
they
assuming it's probably the trees.
It's gonna be
Is all this right here is treed.
There's
There's another building in the back too.
I saw it when I walked
I'm gonna
up that side.
take a closer look at it.
I thought that was the neighbor coming.
Okay, I can see where the floor dips.
Here, I have a flashlight right here on my phone. Do you want to use it?
Nah. Well, nah, I should be alright.
I might have a better flashlight in my car. I'm trying to get this one on.
I mean, it's still daylight, so.
Yeah.
Did you walk through here yet?
I just walked to right there.
Okay. I was gonna say, if you walk through, be careful.
Yeah.
Hey, if you got a flashlight, I'll use it.
Okay.
It's a little darker back here than I
It's
anticipated.
sitting real bright. It's on my phone, but I might have one in my car. I have like a little banner in my car. I know. I'll get it. You want to use this in the meantime?
Yeah, see what you got here.
It doesn't have much. But let me go get the one on
Thank
my
you.
in my car. Did you hear that gun? Yeah. Sound like a shotgun.
Yep.
Maybe that'll be a little bit better. Must have killed a snake.
Alright folks, hopefully you guys watched the entire video, or you watched at least most of it. I'm going to go through and tell you guys what was going on in that video. Now when I was on the outside of the house, as you guys can see, the house was in very rough condition. The plumbing was basically shot. So whoever buys that house, they would have to replace the plumbing, I would say. Because I'm going to assume that the PVC plumbing that's on that house is probably like peanut brittle. If you flick it, it'll probably break. As you guys may have saw in the video, the part that I was calling the drain pipe, really I meant to say that was the main water line. So I meant to say the water line, not the drain pipe, for that piece that I was looking at earlier. I was looking at in the video. So yeah, the outside of the house is in rough condition, and as you guys saw, the inside of the house is also rough. And I meant to give you guys a better video on the inside of the house especially. But I was unable to do that because I had to cut off my camera, and me and the realtor had to leave the area due to the people next door. And so like if you assuming that you guys watched the entire video, you probably heard some noises that may have sounded like someone slamming the door, but that was not the case. What you guys heard were some gunshots. There were you guys heard 2 gunshots on the video. Now, when I cut off the camera and began to hightail it to my car, the neighbors shot 2 more times. Now let me explain. So let me explain. Now that's a part of the video that I want to give some commentary to. And honestly, it's a crying shame that we gotta have this conversation in 2024, but it is what it is. And before you guys go off, before you guys go in the comment section and you talk about that's why I wouldn't live in the South, that's why I wouldn't live in states like Alabama or Mississippi. I would hate to be the bearer of bad news, but those type of things go on all over the country, depending on where you choose to look at a house. Now, the way that I took to look at that house, there was absolutely zero indication that I would potentially be facing any troubles from anybody. I mean, the area, the route that I took to get to that house, it was quiet. I mean, it was super rural, quiet, and for the most part, you had a few houses here and there, but for the most part, it was just nature and open roads. And even when I got to the house, there was nobody outside. Because typically, whenever I look at a property, I like to go to a neighbor and ask them, a little bit about the history of the property and ask them a couple of questions about the neighborhood. But this time I didn't get to do it because there's nobody outside. And then the one of the neighbors came outside. One of the next door neighbors came outside, and he looked over for a brief second. And I would say shortly after the realtor got to the house, and I began to circle the yard and record that footage, I saw the neighbor jump on his four-wheeler and go off into the woods. And a few minutes after he went off into the woods, that's when they started shooting. Now, the first time he shot, I didn't really think. I mean, yeah, it did get my attention because they were they were shooting so close to the property that I was looking at. I mean, as you guys may have heard on the video, that gunshot was very close. But then when I heard it for the second time, I decided, okay, I know what's going on. I'm going to go ahead and cut the camera off. I'm going to grab up the realtor and we're going to get up out of there. Now, for those of you that are not familiar with what I'm talking about, sometimes when you go into certain areas and you're a minority, if the locals don't want you there because you're not of, I'll just say, the right ethnicity, sometimes they might grab a weapon and they might shoot it off in the air. Or kind of like what happened to me yesterday, they'll shoot it off in the woods to where it would be obvious that I'm not welcome into the area. So if you're a minority and you go into a rural community to look at a property, and another reason why I'm doing a video of this is because I understand there is a growing number of African Americans who are leaving the city and are moving into some of these rural communities. And again, I don't care where in the country you move to. I mean, if you move to any rural community within the United States, unfortunately, stuff like this is could sometimes happen. So if you're looking at some property in a rural community, kind of like what I was yesterday, and you start hearing gunshots. Now, if you hear gunshots and it appears that the shots are from a distance, like it's real muffled, it's from a distance, they're not real close by, that's one thing. I mean, at that point, I really wouldn't be concerned about nothing. But if you hear gunshots and it's like close by, it's like real close by, kind of like it was yesterday when I was looking at the house. At that point, what the neighbors are telling you is they're just letting you know that you are not welcome into the area and that you best not move into the area, because most likely if you do move to the area, they're going to do everything humanly possible to make your life a living hell. And actually, it would have been nice if the neighbors would have just came and told me in words that they didn't want me living in that area, but whatever. But I will say, those next door neighbors did me a huge favor. They showed themselves to me right away, so I did not have to wonder. I did not have to do no type of guessing. They showed themselves to me yesterday. So I will say that's one thing that I'm very grateful of. is the fact that I know where I stand with them, so I know not to move there. Now, now, quite honestly, even before the first gunshot was fired, I already knew I wasn't buying that house. Honestly, I knew when I was on the exterior of the house that I wasn't going to buy the house. I just thought since I'm there, I'm going to go inside. I'm going to try to give you guys a good video of the interior just for entertainment purposes. Because I realized that some of you like to watch that kind of stuff. And again, I intended to do a better video, but I couldn't because the neighbors basically ran me off. Because, and another thing is, each time they shot, it seemed like the gunshots were getting closer and closer to the house. And I didn't want to take the chance of me possibly getting hit by one of their bullets. And, I didn't want to take that chance. So I just didn't think it was a good idea for me and my agent to stick around and continue to look at the house. I thought for our safety, it's better that we just hightail it back to our vehicles and leave. So I guess this is kind of sort of a cautionary tale that as a minority, if you're looking at properties in rural communities and the locals start shooting, that's going to be your cue to immediately leave the area. And that will also be their way of communicating to you that you are not welcome to the area. And this area that I was at yesterday was like maybe, I would say it was less than 10 miles outside of town. So it wasn't far from town. Now, when I left the house, the route that I took to get back home, had I took that route to get to the house in the first place, to be quite frank, I wouldn't have went there in the first place to look at that house because some of the indications that somebody like myself would have potential issues in that area were there. Now, I've never been the kind of person to do a whole lot of stereotyping. But after what happened yesterday, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to do a lot more stereotyping. Like when I go look at houses in rural communities, if I see a bunch of rubber flags, I'm not going. If I see a bunch of trucks all jacked up full of mud, I know that might sound stupid, but I'm probably not going to go to that area to look at a house. So there's going to be certain type of vehicles that I'm going to look for. There's going to be a certain type of other paraphernalia that I'm going to look for. And if I see them, I'm not going to look at the house. So I hate to say this. I hate to be like this. But after what happened yesterday, I'm going to definitely, for my own safety, I'm going to have to start doing some more. I'm going to have to start being a little bit. I'm going to have to start practicing a little stereotyping. I mean, just like other people might stereotype a black person. Like if you're walking around and you're looking sloppy and you're black, people are going to naturally stereotype you. They're going to assume the worst. Well, there's people in other communities that sometimes they can look sloppy too. And I've never been the kind of person to stereotype those people. But after what happened yesterday, for my own safety, I'm going to stereotype that. So that's all I gotta say on this topic. Hopefully you guys understand what I'm saying. I know I may have ruffled a few feathers, but again, my apologies. But this is a message that I feel is important because you do have a growing number of minorities, especially African Americans, that are looking at houses in rural communities. And for those that don't know about this type of stuff, you need to know. You need to know for the safety of yourself as well as your family. And on that note, I'm gonna leave you guys with a quick bonus video. The video is only about a couple of minutes. It's of another house that I looked at, which, as you guys will see in the video, the house was in very bad condition. The floors were rotted through to the point where in certain parts of the house, the floor has already caved in. So I'm gonna show you that. I think it's like a 2-minute clip. So on that note, stay blessed. I'll catch you guys on the next one.